This is still an active investigation. We're here at the corner of Vineyard Avenue and Murdo Street, and as you can see, the avenue still remains blocked off with crime tape as the Yonkers Police Department as well as medical examiners still remain on scene. But Carol, very little information is known at this time. What has been confirmed by the Yonkers Police Department is that it was a 45-year-old Yonkers man that was fatally stabbed this morning. And police actually tell us, if you walk with me this way, the body of that man was actually found down over there near the intersection of Vineyard Avenue and Wheeland Place across from a deli. Now again, very little information is known at this time. We don't know how many people were actually involved in this fatal stabbing. It all happened on February 15th when officials said Leisha Machado allegedly took a stroller with another person's 2-year-old child from this emergency room of St. Joseph's Hospital. Lydia, people in this neighborhood are worried and frustrated. All these homes you see on this block remain without power. And according to Con Edison, more than 300 customers have been without power since this morning. Now at this time, the Suffern Police Department have still not released the man's identity and it's still unclear as to how he fell off that bridge. Well, Jackie, this was just a different scene last night. There was a massive police presence and people were kind of in a panic mode. But what we've noticed right now is that police still remain circling the hospital grounds. We've seen NYPD here. We've also seen the Bronxville Police Department. And not just that. The cause of the carbon monoxide leak is still under investigation, but Con Edison says the cause is most likely due to a heating equipment that was found inside of the home. Now the good news here is that the 11 victims that remain in the hospital are expected to be okay. In Yonkers, Jessica Vallejo, Jvallejonews. Well, you may want to hold on to your hats because it's windy out here and dangerously windy. The wind gusts have been so powerful. Just take a look behind me. I'm here in front of a home in Harrison. You can see those winds knocked over that tree onto those power lines. Well, Mike Courtney, the good news here is that no one has been hurt, but as you can see, the Mount Vernon Fire Department remain on scene, making sure the fire does not rekindle with these storms we're having. At this time, they have controlled the blaze, but just take a look behind me. You can see the home is still standing, but the roof had collapsed. Well, many on this block remain without power, and the reason why, just take a look behind me, is because of this tree, which was about 20 feet tall, now lays on this street, blocking this whole intersection of Union Avenue and Franklin Street. Crews are on scene just trying to clean up this mess. In this video, you can see those strong winds just rip the tree trunk apart. This person from Immigration and Customs Enforcement has confirmed that undocumented immigrants from this 3-story building were removed by ICE agents this morning. And as you can imagine, tenants now remain very fearful. These are images of enforcement removal operations taking place at 17 Van Orden Avenue Monday morning. Here on Warburton Avenue, it is just complete destruction. Now, I'm going to step out of your way so you can take a look. But you see that empty lot over there? Well, a home once stood there. And within just a couple of minutes, the neighboring home next to it will also be demolished because it was also caught in the flames. And indeed, it is quiet out here. As you can see, no one is outside in the yard playing. We are told from an ICE spokesperson that this particular enforcement removal operation is expected to last through the end of the week, and neighbors here are fearful that the agents will return by tonight. In Spring Valley, Jessica Vallejo, Jvallejonews. The sidewalk, it's covered in snow, but just take a look. The snow isn't actually sticking to the roads, which is a good thing. We're here on the overpass off the exit 9N in Harrison, and if you take a look, the westbound lanes of Interstate 287 have now been reopened, and traffic is flowing at this time. But this was just a different scene earlier, as there was backup for about 2 hours when a pedestrian was struck by a car. At this time, firefighters remain on scene, looking for hot spots after it took them hours to control the flames. Now, if you take a look, we've been pushed back about 2 miles from the mansion. You can see how powerful the flames were around 7 a.m. as they tore through the mansion previously owned by a member of the Gucci family. Well, the fun is just getting started here at the Palisades Center as people have been gathering for the annual Halloween event. Just walk with me this way. You can see, look at all these trick-or-treaters in their adorable costumes coming to get candy from over 50 stores.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Yonkers police have charged a Washington state man in an alleged citizenship scam that targeted undocumented immigrants. Fox 1's Jessica Vallejo has the story.
In this case,
Cristana Rosa Martinez is one of the many that was targeted by 63-year-old Juan Cedillo. She tells us in Spanish she has been left with a broken heart.
I feel scared now that immigration authorities will come to my house because of that man. He is at fault. He scammed us and committed a huge fraud. I feel sad, anxious, and depressed. I can't stop shaking. Shaking of anxiety from the actions of a Washington man that is now being charged with a felony of grand larceny for an alleged citizenship scam that targeted undocumented immigrants. Her daughter, Jacqueline Rojas, who stood by her mother's side, says she was even fooled.
But I'm thankful that this has come to light, that he is now, in jail, and that there are processes moving forward and there's protection for my parents.
In a press conference on Thursday, Mayor Mike Spano and Police Commissioner Charles Gardner announced that a total of over 40 families were victimized by Cedillo since 2013. Families lost a total of over $300,000.
Mr. Cedillo sold false promises and false hope to a vulnerable subset of our population, scamming them out of their hard-earned money.
Commissioner Gardner says Cedillo allegedly portrayed himself as someone connected to many federal agencies associated with the immigration application process. Police say he collected $8,000 per family in exchange for a promised legal United States citizenship.
As of today, we are not aware of any of these families' applications being approved or leading to any change in their immigration status.
Police are now asking anyone who may be a victim of a citizenship scam to please come forward. In Yonkers, Jessica Vallejo, Bilingual News. The mansion on Baptist Church Road was once owned by a member of the Gucci family. Now just a shell remains after a fire destroyed it. The flames were spotted by a passerby this morning, and firefighters from Yorktown Heights and neighboring communities battled for hours trying to save the mansion.
I didn't really see much because it happened at 6:30 in the morning, but we could smell a little bit of the smoke sometimes. But the wind direction kept changing, so you could smell it on and off. Van
Kadish Manny, who lives just down the block, says crews had to pump water from a nearby pond in effort to control the raging fire.
We did see all the fire crews come in. They had difficulties because there's no fire hydrants on the street, so they actually had to go get the water back and forth to put out the flames. So it took them a while. They shut down the street for a long time.
The 12-acre Gucci estate was purchased in 1980 for $4 million and was bought by current owners 7 years ago, according to reports.
We are very glad nobody was inside, but the property has been empty for several years now.
As a result of the intense battle to fight the fire, tonight the Yorktown Police Department says the hydrants that were used to pump water on the flames may now affect water in the neighboring homes. There may be a slight discoloration in the tap water. Local residents are being asked to run cold water until it is clear. Now, no injuries were reported, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. In Yorktown Heights, Jessica Vallejo, Bilingual News.
Watch your back. Let him through.
Thursday, at a speedy court appearance, the district attorney decided that there is no criminal case at this time against Juan Rodriguez, who admitted to police he accidentally left his twin babies in the car for hours on a hot day.
We are speaking to the district attorney's office to convey to them what I think that they know and understand, that this was a horrific and terrible tragedy.
As Juan Rodriguez appeared in the Bronx courthouse today to answer to charges of criminally negligent homicide and manslaughter, he walked in the courtroom holding his wife's hand and carrying his 4-year-old son, who had his arms wrapped around his father. And despite the horrific accident that occurred, there were more than 40 family members and friends of Rodriguez supporting him in court.
There have been instances where cases just like this have been dropped around the country. Obviously, the district attorney wants to ensure that there was no crime here, that there was no intent, that there was no criminality, and we believe that that's exactly what they'll find.
The 39-year-old licensed clinical social worker had already pleaded not guilty to the charges in the deaths of his children, Luna and Phoenix, on Friday morning, telling police the day of the incident it was a terrible mistake. Rodriguez says that morning he dropped his 4-year-old son at daycare with the twins in the backseat. Somewhere along the way, he says he forgot the babies were in the car. Rodriguez drove to work in the Bronx, and 8 hours later, when he returned back to his vehicle, is when Rodriguez discovered his babies were dead. The family denied to speak to the press after the court appearance as Rodriguez stood carrying his 4-year-old son and had his wife clutched to his arm in anguish. His 2 older children also stood by their side. Rodriguez's attorney says he's hopeful the district attorney will determine that this was nothing more than a terrible, horrific act. Now Rodriguez is to appear back in court on August 27th. In the Bronx, Jessica Vallejo, 5